Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Rain and cooler temperatures continue to weigh heavy on planting, with the latest crop progress numbers continuing to show things are running well behind the normal pace. USDA reporting 14% of the corn crop is now in the ground. That's 19% behind the 5-year average, but up 7% from last week. North Dakota hasn't planted any corn yet. The I states are all in single digits. Soybean planting also continuing to lag, with 8% of the crop planted. That's 5% off the 5-year pace, and North Dakota getting a hash mark for soybean planting as well. While cotton planting running a bit ahead of schedule at 16% planted compared to the 5-year average of 15%. Now, in previous years where North Dakota's wet weather has prevented planting, it resulted in 800,000 to 2 million acres of prevent plant. But with commodity prices this year, Treg Cronin thinks North Dakota will do everything they can to get a crop in.
There's no question, between the snowfall the last couple of weeks and the rain that we're getting in the Dakotas today and this weekend, we're several weeks out from a lot of progress in North Dakota specifically. So I think you could see a big shift there from spring wheat to corn. If it gets later than that, corn to soybeans. If it gets later than that, then maybe we're soybeans into sunflowers. But there are options yet, but spring wheat could be the big loser here.
And planting season has been particularly hard on farmers in North Dakota, some of whom have seen 40 to 50 inches of snow in just the past month. Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan has more on what that means for farmers' outlook this year.
From devastating floods in eastern North Dakota to snow piling up farther west, April has created two extremes.
Well, the weather's been a little bit strange.
A state battling widespread drought last spring has seen a 180-degree turnaround just recently. That's as planting was just about to start.
We were looking at a really early spring. In fact, we actually had our drill hooked up, ready to go seed on Monday before this snowstorm hit.
Paul Thomas farms in north central North Dakota, where the week before Easter, the ground seemed primed to plant.
And then all of a sudden we got hit with 40 inches of snow, and it sure changed the outlook for spring's work.
April snowstorms here aren't rare, but back-to-back blizzards and the cold has been extreme for even North Dakota.
Probably the one thing different about this April storm than some in the past is we've stayed so cold since we've had the snow. So we're going on, 12 days now, and we're still looking at major snow banks, fields, 60, 70% covered with snow yet.
Thomas says typically farmers here would be getting into the field to plant right now.
We'll plant corn all the way out to about May 25th. That's kind of our drop dead date. We try and get it all in by May 10th to May 15th.
And even with the window closing, he says he's not switching his planting plans just yet.
Our plans for planting and seeding our small grains, we're still, going to stay with the same crop mix. We'll see as how long this takes to see when it warms up.
And his biggest concern right now is when and how all of this snow melts off.
Our biggest concern is melting it off. And then hopefully, there's this situation where you have a perfect melt, where you have those 45, 50-degree days where you're moving some snow, you give it time to soak in, that it all doesn't run off.
But if the area sees a big temperature swing, he knows there's some areas that may not be able to plant.
And if we would happen to get one of those really warm days, we'd see a lot of this snow just running off and filling up our potholes, filling up some areas that we typically farm, that we're not going to be able to farm those areas.
Even with all the concerns, it's moisture that's sprouting optimism about what harvest could bring.
The moisture, although it presents a lot of challenges for us, it certainly gives us that hope of a lot of opportunity for a good crop as well.